Hey everybody, and happy Monday. Can't believe it's Monday already. Hey, happy Mother's Day to everybody who's a mom or a mentor in some way, and I think that that's pretty much everybody that I know that watches this. Just gonna peek, and I want to share this into the groups. Earlier today, I found out why people have been saying the new Facebook Live, like if you're on your computer doing a Facebook Live, and I would also imagine a tablet. Now I understand why people are saying, "Oh my God, is this working?" I'm just going to go with it because wowza! I tried to do a Facebook Live inside of my membership site in demand, and I was like, "Oh my God!" I got to go back to my eCam which is what I'm using right now. Hey, Tim, it's nice to have you here. Sandy, thank you for joining. You guys are so awesome. Where else do I want to share this? We'll share that there. And I just also have to share this onto my personal page. There we go. Okay. So I've shared this in the few places that I'm going to share this. And tonight I'm talking about a topic that's very near and dear to my heart because this is what I think actually makes a huge difference. So happy Mother's Day to everybody who's joining. Hello, Lucy. It's good to see you here. So I want to take you. Well, first, let me tell you why I thought that this was so important to talk about today. About the mindset of a six-figure CEO, not the mindset of a six-figure employee, a six-figure hobbyist, a six-figure, let me take my chance on this, but really like the CEO of your business. And making that shift from the employee into that CEO position, there can be a lot of resistance there. And I think it's not something that's really talked about. And so this is something that I talk about with my private business clients and also my clients who are using speaking to market their business, because you have to think about speaking in a very particular way so that you can, let's make the six figures, okay? So I want to take you on all the way maybe back to your high school. High school days. Remember having a part-time job in your high school days? I want you to think back to that. Tell me what you did for a part-time job in high school or even in college. My part-time job, during college, was I have a degree in exercise physiology, so I taught I taught fitness classes. You know, it was a way for me to get my workouts in. It was something that I really enjoyed. In hindsight, it helped me a lot, in getting onto the stage. So Sarah says she was a lifeguard. Here's a funny story. I was actually a lifeguard too, Sarah, and I hate swimming. So I am the sort of lifeguard, I'll be the first person to call 911. But all kidding aside, I actually did have to. I think I had to save one or two people in my time. Hey Sherry, it's nice to see you here also. Lucy says she was a part-time librarian until she was about 18. Sherry, in case we were just talking about what our part-time jobs were in high school and college. In high school, I worked at a grocery store and also at a fast food restaurant, Burger King. For those of you who are here in the U.S. will know that. And what I loved about those two jobs is the fast pace. I was really, really good. I was always put on the express lane in the grocery store because I was really super fast. I was good at getting people out of the store. Let's see. One job that I had that I was not very good at, I'm going to share this one. Banking. Was not very good at the banking, because they kind of want you to be accurate. And I'm not always the most accurate person. I'm just but here's what's funny about me in a bank and not being, just this whole accuracy. The deposit was $5,432.72. Sometimes I just kind of flip some numbers. That's all. The funny thing is I always had conversations with customers, and the bankers would come to me and say, like, Laurie-Ann, you're off by this much money. I would recognize that number, the conversation that I had with somebody, and I could literally go back and find them and be like, oh yeah, like this is really where it belongs. So I don't do taxes, by the way, and none of you would want me doing your taxes. Let's see. Sherry was a bank teller in high school. Wonderful. Let's see. Sandy says she was a waitress and a research assistant. And Sarah says, I also taught kids to swim. First night as a lifeguard, a guy had a heart attack. Oh my God. Wow. Talk about like getting in on that one. That's interesting. So the reason why I wanted you to think about, like, when you went back to high school, think about what you got paid. And I know it was a long time ago. And for some of us, it was a little bit longer than others. But I look back on like what I made at those part-time jobs. And if somebody asked me, you're like, hey, like, can we give you a full-time job? And that's what the pay is going to be like, no. Like, and the reason why I bring this up is because we've all raised our bar. You raise your bar. Like that high school job where like you might have been working like 3 to 11, you know, in the grocery store, flipping burgers, working in the library, what were some of the other ones that you guys, bank teller and being a lifeguard. You might not do those anymore. It might just be like, no, that's not where my zone of genius is anymore. And I'm specifically using that. I'm not saying that they're like right now with this this whole, you know, pandemic. You know, if this pandemic wasn't here, okay, we might say like, I'm not going to go work in a grocery store. You know, and I'm not even sure like what the pay is for a grocery store, but like I've raised my bar. I have more confidence. You know, I don't think like a grocery store cashier. You know, like a lot of us that are here on this live right now are entrepreneurs, and I know that I've had this conversation with Sherry before, that we are unemployable because we think like entrepreneurs, we think like business owners. So I can't be like, you know, like it would be so hard for me to like go and be that employee, knowing that I like, oh my God, like I have these like ideas about social media and how we can like increase this or change that. Um, I just have to see what Lucy has to say. Here she says, $6 because I worked for the state as a librarian. I felt rich at the age of 14 when I started. I totally get that. Back then, that $6, yeah, you did feel like you were rich. It was like, wow, that was a lot of money. But like, what were we comparing it to? Because maybe your parents, like maybe the allowance that they were giving you, if your parents were giving you an allowance. I think about like my parents gave me an allowance up until I got a part-time job. So, and that was when I started working at Burger King. And also at that point, you know, I mean, it was just a different time. Like my parents didn't buy my clothes after I got a part-time job. You know, they did give me some ideas about like, you know, like here's how to start saving for college, because they knew, hey, like we got four daughters. I was the oldest. I still am the oldest, by the way. So I'm the oldest. And, you know, I was like, here's what you need to do so that you have money to go to college. And so as soon as I didn't do this at Burger King, I knew there was a grocery store that was closer to me. They paid better. So I got a job there. And I knew, I mean, like all the college kids come home. But guess what? Come August, they're all getting ready to go back to school. And that's when I actually approached the manager and said, hey, you know, like we're going to lose about, like, sometimes I look back on this and I'm like, how was I that bold? Because remember, I'm like the reformed, painfully shy girl. And I dug up the courage to go and tell her, like, hey, we're going to lose about 7 cashiers in the next couple of weeks. I think it's probably a good idea that maybe you want to train me. But I also knew that if she trained me and I became the cashier, I also knew that I was getting a raise. So now I was going to like start earning a little bit more money. But anyways, I digress. My parents did encourage me to start saving for college, and so like I was able to do that at the grocery store because I had a credit union. Um, Let me see what Tim said. So true. I am unemployable. My first job was $8 an hour. No matter, no matter how, sorry, I got something in the way. No matter how fast or slow I served the ice cream. Exactly, exactly. Um, let's see. Lucy said, "Oh, she didn't have an allowance." So no wonder why I like that job. Like at $6 an hour, you feel rich. Exactly. I'm going to tell you guys a funny story. When I got out of college and I have a degree in exercise physiology, I it took me about a year and I got a really good job at Leahy Clinic, which some people here on the live are going to know about. It's a teaching hospital just north of Boston. It was a fabulous, fabulous job. And I remember getting, like, we got paid like twice a month and got my first paycheck and like, okay. And then about 2 weeks later, I was getting my second paycheck. And I remember like I decided to go visit my sister who was pregnant at the time and living in New York City with her husband. And I had called her and said, like, and I kind of worded it like this. I just said, I'm going to come visit you, like for the weekend. And she was like, really, like, what's up? I got another paycheck. And she was like, yeah. And I was like, I haven't finished using the first one. I said, so I'm going to use some of that money and like come visit you. And it was like always just kind of like this ongoing joke. I didn't finish using all the money from the first paycheck, and that included like rent and all that stuff. So I was able to go visit her and bring home cheesecake. Of course, that's what you do when you're in New York City. So back to like we raise our bar. What was once good enough and even wonderful and made us feel rich isn't going to cut it anymore because we've increased our confidence. We've got more experience. But here's the important thing. You've stepped into a different and better and more improved version of yourself. So I hear all the time, like, Laurie-Ann, like, how do I take my business to the next level? How do I get more profitable? How do I scale? How do I add on more clients? All that good stuff. And it's about like, who are you stepping into? Because a lot of times I'm just going to use this sweater as an example. We're keeping on our older outfit that might even be a little worn out. And I'm trying to play in a different game, in a different role that requires a different jacket, a different sweater. But I haven't given up the comfort of this one. Do you see? Is that making sense? It's kind of an interesting, spontaneous analogy. So let's just say, like, let me know if that makes sense. Like, we need to step into this new version of ourselves, this higher level. If we're not going to make, like Lucy, $6 an hour anymore, if we're not going to go work for the libraries because she's a different person now. She's not going to do that. She's like got different talents. She's got different skills. She's got different passions that she wants to share with the world. So going to that like $6 an hour library job, could actually be very draining on us. So let's just hypothetically say we're all entrepreneurs here. You're in your own business and you decide, let's just say you're making somewhere between $3,000 to $5,000, $3,000 to $5,000 a month. And, you've got a few one-on-one clients and you're like, how do I shift? Like, how do I start making more money? Well, maybe it's like you've got only private one-on-one clients, but you've also then there's the idea well, here are all the different ideas that how I can make money. They could be group programs, a masterclass. I could write a book and sell the book, whether you're selling the book on Amazon or if you're speaking, like I know Tim is doing. You could be selling that book in the back of the room, or that could be an upgrade to when you are speaking. Masterminds, maybe you've got some ebooks or some easy programs, simple things that people can start to buy. There are lots of different ideas to make money. Like Sherry on here, she has two different clients. One, she has a product that she sells, but she also looks for recruits. And Sherry, let me know if you've got a third one, but I think that's right because Terry's in direct sales, and I'm trying to think of the people that I also are seeing on here that are commenting. If there's anybody else that's in direct sales, I don't think so. So what does that take to make that shift into, I'm going to offer a mastermind. I'm going to offer a group program. I'm going to write a book. Sandy has written a number of books, Amazon bestsellers, by the way. You should definitely, they are wonderful. Make sure you're watching some of her lives because she's going over some of the tips in some of her books, especially right now. And she got a Mother's Day gift to help her with her live streaming setup. I just read that earlier. So, like, I have a membership site. Now, a couple of years ago, I wasn't the person who could launch, open, and run a membership site. Do you see what I'm saying? But I have become that person. And I also have fallen in love with having a membership site because I just love and adore my members, and I love being able to help them along. But I also have private clients, and I love being able to help them. And I've also I'm really good at running live events and also obviously speaking, but I'm also really good at holding, having master classes, going through launches, doing free challenges, doing a Facebook Live. These are things that are easy for me now, but once upon a time when I wasn't doing them, I had to, it's not just a matter of getting good at it, but it's also a matter of stepping into that person, making that shift to the person who does do Facebook Lives, who does launch free challenges, who does launch group programs. Share down below what is something that you would like to start selling. What is something that you want to step into that, that's why you joined this particular live stream, was because what is Laurie-Ann talking about? I want to know what that CEO mindset is, because I'm getting there also, because there are some really good tips that I want to give you about how to really embrace that, how to really make that shift, how to get rid of this old sweater and put on the new sweater, the new, shall I say, the new powerful sweater? Yeah. So let's just go back to that analogy of 3 to 5K a month. And you decide, you've made the decision, I want 10K months. I'm seeing a lot of it online. I think it's possible, and then that other part of your brain says, yeah, but it's a global pandemic, nobody's making really 10K. You can't make 10K. And guess what? That CEO side of you says, yes, I can. But let's decide where that extra money is going to come from. Because remember, I'm just using numbers. I was just saying we were starting at 3 to 5K a month. So now it's where's that other $5,000 to $7,000 going to come from? Where am I going to bring in that extra business? And what kind of time do you have? Because the amount of time, the free space that you have to add either extra clients or group programs or a membership site or even writing a book, that's all of these are variables that you have to think about and that you have to play with. So let me know if you guys have any questions on this. I'm just taking out my notes here. So here's the big area where I see the shift. One of the big mindset shifts to to going from less than 6 figures into 6 figures, and one of my favorite phrases is healthy 6 figures. And for me, healthy 6 figures actually means 500 and above. And as most of you know, I'm in a very high-end mastermind to go to from 6 to 7 figures. That it's a small accountability group, and it's just the bomb. But so let's just talk about what's that mindset shift. Sandy said one of the things that she wants to do, that she wants to be selling and earning money, is through online classes. Fantastic, because that is something that Sandy can put on. She could either make them evergreen, or it can just be on repeat. And meaning it still can be a live program, but once she's already recorded the training videos, it's like there's the training videos. There are lots of different ways to do online courses. And Tim says for him, he would like to start selling his speaking. Fantastic. And Tim, things are definitely going to come out of this. And something that I heard over the weekend is that companies still have budgets. You know, last fall, like maybe even like last January, none of us knew that this pandemic was actually going to happen. But most companies actually plan their budgets in the fall for the following year. So that means they still have an allotted amount of money that is going towards some sort of education, professional development. I want to encourage you, those of you that are here that want to do some speaking and get paid for speaking, is that these people still have money that they want to use. And this actually comes from, this information actually comes from somebody in a company, that we want to spend our budget money, because if we don't spend our budget money, come 2021, they're going to take some of our budget away when we are out of this pandemic. So I tell you that you can be selling your virtual speaking, and you do not have to be doing virtual speaking for free. You can actually be charging for this. And like I said earlier, like last month was probably was so far my best month of the year in new client business. So one of the big differences in a six-figure CEO compared to a five-figure CEO is that they know that time is money. I can make more money, but I can't make more time. And this is something that I go over with my private clients, my private business clients all the time. Because you can do everything, but is it really worth your while to do everything? Is it profitable for you to be doing everything? So for example, is it really wise for you to be doing a $50 an hour task or a $10 an hour task when what you really should be doing is the stuff that only you can do, that's like the $500 an hour task? So for example, I have different team members that work with me and that support me, and they have like all like specialties. Can I update my website? Absolutely. Can I mess it up? Yes. Do I have somebody on my team that actually that's their specialty, is they're very techie? Yes. I also have somebody, can I go into Canva and make my own graphics? Absolutely. And let me tell you, you guys will know which ones I make. Do I have somebody on my team who like making graphics comes so easy to her? Absolutely. And this woman happens to, she just does this on the side. It's not her full-time thing, but it's something that she went to school for. She's fabulous at this. You know, do I have somebody who does my editing? Yes. Can I edit my own stuff? No, because I wrote it. But the things that I need to be doing are the things that I can't delegate, that I shouldn't be delegating out. So that CEO mindset is about staying in your zone of genius. Thank you, Sarah's just, is saying it right now. Stay in my zone of genius and let others thrive in theirs. That's so beautifully said. I can move my company forward the more I stay in my lane, the more I stay in my zone of genius. Again, can I do my own posting on Facebook? Absolutely. Is it a good use of my time? Because remember, I don't have all the time in the world. I can do all those things. And when I first started out in this online world, I actually did do my own posting. But guess what happened? And this only took like a couple of weeks for me to realize. I wanted to do the Facebook posting. Something gets in the way. Something else gets in the way. Before you know it, it's like 3 p.m. and I haven't done my Facebook posting. And then I might be like, like working with clients. And then before you know it, it was like 8 o'clock and I was like, geez, like all I had to do was like do my Facebook posting. And, that's when I would do my Facebook engagement and things get in the way. So I had to hire somebody to do those things for me. And so I did hire those things. Like two of the things that I did when I first started in this online space before I had any clients is that I hired a coach to hold me accountable. And then I also hired a VA. Those were the two things that I did before I had any clients. I didn't worry about having clients at first because I knew if anything, if I could give any of you guys like the biggest gift, and that would be to hire on a team member and get used to that. Because when you've got somebody else that you can just say, hey, can you, and this is something that I do, can you proofread my email? And there are times when I skip that step, and that's usually when there's a typo. I'm thinking of the one that I sent out a couple of weeks ago, which was absolutely hilarious, the typo that I made. But by having somebody who hey, can you proofread this? And then once it's proofread, put it into our email platform, which for me, it just happens to be ConvertKit. And I'm going to be moving platforms from ConvertKit to ActiveCampaign. Is that a good use of my time? No. I just like my techie VA. She can do that. She loves to do these things, and it's her zone of genius, and it brings her joy. Whereas for me, it would take me twice as long. It's going to take me away from the things that only I can do. And that's, this is how we support other people, is by let's all stay in our zone of genius. So one thing I want to know from each of you is, what is your zone of genius? And let's see, let me type down below. I want to know what your zone of genius is. It says, Sarah says, yes, I can iron, but I don't love to. And I'm so fond of somebody who does. That's perfect. Like right now during this global pandemic, my sister actually started, just because she's got a pretty hefty commute to work, and she just started with this Instacart, having somebody else do her grocery shopping. She just said it was inexpensive enough to be able to do something like this, and so that when we all came into this global pandemic, she was already set up with that. But one of the things that she learned before the pandemic by having somebody do her grocery shopping was, she goes, it was a treat. She didn't have to worry about not having food, coming home from work and being like, oh my God, I gotta go to the grocery store because I have nothing to eat at home. Now she had somebody who was doing the shopping. She could, she would get home at 6:30. The groceries are delivered by 7. I mean, I have people that are in my 6 or 7 figure mastermind, and that people are outsourced. We do have this theme about staying in our zone of genius and what can we outsource. And there are so many things that we can outsource. You can outsource laundry. And some of us are if I can outsource it, if I can delegate it, if I can take it off my plate, I am. Because then it gives me more time to do the other things. Not just work in your business, but maybe spend time with your kids, your family. Writing the book that you keep talking about. Let me just see what's some of these things that people say, that people are saying that their zone of genius is marketing. Let's see. For Sandy, since she said it's not marketing or techie stuff, even though you can do it. Exactly. You can, but this is where the shift comes. This is where the magic happens. And let's see. Sarah says, my zone of genius is eliminating burnout and stress in people's life and in their teams. Yeah, it is. And Tim says, my zone of genius is supporting people to improve their health and stay on track. Absolutely. I love that. So with your zone of genius, some of the things that only you can do in this online space. Tim, Sarah, you're both speakers. One, you can't outsource your speaking. You just can't. You also, Sandy's also a speaker. Can't outsource your speaking. Can't outsource. You also can't outsource doing the sales calls. Anybody who's on this call right now, you cannot outsource doing your sales calls. I hear time and time again people who are trying to get into this business, and I don't want to do sales calls. They want somebody else to do the cold calling for them. Let me just take in the speaking industry specifically. I don't want to have to find speaking events. Well, I don't want to have to close the sale. Well, guess what? If somebody's paying you $10,000, $5,000 to speak, they want to speak to the person who's going to be speaking. They don't want to talk to your assistant. It's okay, like once you get to be like the $1 million speaker and you have an assistant who lines up all those phone calls, by then you've got an amazing reputation. But if you're just kind of like like between like starting out to that $1 million mark and being known really well in the industry, you're going to have to do those things. You've got to write your own content. Like nobody can write my content. Nobody can do my Facebook Live. But to be able to take that and understand like, all right, like what can I outsource so that I have more time to do the speaking, so that I have more time to call on different associations and professional trade groups to see, hey, how are you doing? Can I offer you like to do a virtual program? Maybe you decide like you also need some thinking in white space, because that's where some of, again, being that CEO, you need to come up with the creative ideas that move the company forward. Does that make sense? And with that white space, that's where you come up with the ideas. It might be like, hey, a group program. A group program would be a natural step after I do this. Or I've got, like one of the ideas that's come from my mastermind is some people have like after they, do these one-on-one coaching programs, they then dump people, or I keep using that word dump. They like put them into either a membership or some sort of a group mastermind, because it's just like that natural step. But again, without the white space and giving yourself the time to think creatively, you'd never come up with that. So with that, I want to share a couple of different resources with you. A couple of things that I got going on for you this week that I'm really excited to share. One is Momentum Bootcamp. Momentum Bootcamp is an idea that just from the stuff that I have heard from you guys, that I am seeing some of the problems. It's like, how do I get over this hump? How do I set myself up so that when this pandemic comes to an end, which we're starting to see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, that my business will have momentum. Let's take the foot off the brake and put it on the gas pedal. And that's what Momentum is. It is a 6-week program for the right people. I'm being super picky about who I bring into this program. It is a very intimate program. I'm calling it the intimate program that feels more like private coaching. So it is about mindset, marketing, and sales in 6 weeks. And there's some really fun bonuses. And I will drop the link because I think we have one more seat left that's open. And then after that, it's going to be the waiting list until the next time I run this program. So I'm calling this Momentum Bootcamp. And so let me just drop the link for that down below. If it speaks to you, just book a call. There's a link in there to book the call. And from there, it is very checkbook friendly. I will let you know. Some wonderful people that are already inside the group, and it is going to start next Monday. And there's some really fun bonuses that are coming with the program, along with the presentation bonus is going to be going away. So with that, I also want to share with you, that's number one. Like I said, only one more seat left. Number two is I'm going to be doing a few lives this week about the big mistakes in marketing that I'm seeing right now, and how to accelerate your marketing and get very specific about your marketing. So that is going to be this week. And chances are that will start tomorrow at noon, I believe. There's no Facebook event because that's just, wait a minute, one too many A's. Tim, you got to tell me, what does that mean? One too many A's. I'm like wondering if I made a spelling mistake somewhere. Anyways, so I'm obviously getting a little sidetracked here from not knowing what the answer is. I'm going to do some the mistakes in marketing that I'm seeing, and that's going to be it'll be on my business page and also in my Facebook group, Entrepreneurs Making an Impact. So let me know if you guys have any questions. Tim, if you want to explain that to me. This has been a lot of fun. You guys are a great, great crowd in the boot camp link. Oh, you're right. I did. Take out that darn thing. And this is why somebody has to edit my emails. All right, hopefully I got it right this time. Leave it to the fitness guy to know how to sell Boost. Right. We all love a good VA. Absolutely. Thank you. That was fun. That was fun and funny. Again, we can't take ourselves too seriously. Let's just have a whole lot of fun. And that's what I want my Facebook Lives to be like. Let's just have a lot of fun. All good times. Let me know if you have any questions. If you are watching the replay, have a question, just make sure you tag me down below so that I'll swing on by and make sure I answer your question. You guys have a great night. I will see you tomorrow for the first marketing mistake at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Have a great evening.